I will not be labeled. As you look around you today, we see death and destruction. A young man is gunned down senselessly yet again. What the enemy wants is for us to forget about the work of Jesus. You know, when you look at the walls of Jerusalem, when they're laid bare, Nehemiah 6:4 tells us when the wall of Jerusalem lay bare and Nehemiah started putting the walls together, there were people that were coming that sought out his life to kill him. They told Nehemiah, we know you building this wall because you want to proclaim yourself king. And Nehemiah said, why should I stop this great work of God that I'm doing to leave this wall, to come down and meet with you? A lot of times these things are distraction from the enemy. Lucifer himself wants to distract us to leave the great work of God that we are doing to focus on the enemy. But I will not be distracted. I know what the Word of God tells me, and I know what pleases the Father. All too often we want to listen to men. We want to do the will of men and not the will of God. Nehemiah built that wall. He never left that wall to come down to sit with the enemy. Nehemiah did what God asked him to do, and he built that wall. I say this to say, I have never had so much distractions in my life. There were times when my life was full of drug use and alcohol and everything else. No one ever tried to stop me. Even as I ran up and down these streets, north side, south side, no one said nothing. But when I started reaching out to my brothers, teaching them about the will, the purpose of God, I had so many people calling me all kinds of names and trying to take my life. People telling me that what I'm doing is not the will of God. People want me to follow the will of man and stop the great project that God is doing in my life. Their project is so great that it has the devil's attention and his 6 lieutenants that are all conjuring together to stop this great project. People try so often to label me. Oh, you know what? He's from here. We know who he is. This man is nothing. The same thing. We know Jesus. He's the son of he's the son of Joseph, the carpenter. He's no son of Christ. The will of God, people, is so important. People will try to label you when you are doing great works of God. God said, love your enemies. Do you love your enemies? Love your enemies. I know it's hard to do, but we need to learn to forgive. When someone commits murder, we cast that person out. What would happen if God had cast us out? You ever thought about that? We become judges. We judge where to sit, where to eat, who to talk with, who to be with. Don't make the mistake that Saul made. The Lord said, go and totally destroy the Amalekites. And Saul decided to bring the king Agag in town and parade him. And at the same time while building a statue to himself. Obedience is better than sacrifice. I don't care about a good name. The only good name I want is a good name from God. When you do the will of God, people will attack you. This world does not love you. This world will chew you up and spit you out. The devil has allegiance to no one. He wants to see your demise. So I will not be labeled. Look around you. Every other day, there is a shooting and there is death all across our city streets. Who's doing anything to make a difference? And when God moving us to make a difference, we come on the fierce attack from the enemy, from the devil, that wants us to be in line. God has given us power and dominion over all the earth. And mankind wants to label you and tell you, you know what? You are white pastor, so you should stay in your corner and be with white people. You are black pastor, so you need to hang out with black people. Oh, you are African pastor, so you need to hang out with African people. And that's how these labels stick, because you believe the enemy and his works. God has set you free. Do his will. We are here today because the community suffers. Too many people today are suffering. Too many people today are mourning, are grieving because of the senseless violence that have gripped our communities. Love your neighbors as you love yourself. Do the will of God, not the will of man. Continue to do his will. Do not be labeled. People will say everything they can say about you as they have said about the Father Jesus Christ. If they attack Jesus, they will attack you too. Continue to do his will. That's all I have to say.